guys, my name is Natalie and welcome to my channel. I'm so glad that you're here today. Today I'm introducing a new series I'm starting, and it's just called How I Study the Bible, or How to Study the Bible. But basically I wanted to discuss just how to study the Bible. So just kind of share with you how I study the Bible and hopefully encourage you to study the Bible. So a lot of you might have heard about a quiet time, and a quiet time is simply a time that you pick and you set aside to spend time with God. So whether that's in the morning, whether that's at night, however it is, but it's a time that you set aside and that you're just telling God, I just want to meet with you and I want to know who you are. And it just can consist of many different things. And that's what I wanted to kind of go through. So the first thing is why a quiet time? Why is that important? Why do we need it? So the first reason is a quiet time is you getting to know God. So you're telling God that you want to know who He is. So remember, the Bible is about Him. So when we come to Him and sit down and read His Word, we're letting Him know that we want to know more about Him. And through Him, He reveals to us more about His character, who He is, and He begins to transform us to become more like Him. The second thing is it teaches us to abide in God. So we can't do things on our own. God works through us, and that's what quiet time does, is it refocuses our minds to know that God is the one working through us. All we have to do is surrender to Him, and He uses us to do many different things. When we're not in His Word and we're doing stuff out of our strength, is when we get wore out. It's when we lose our way and things become kind of cloudy in a certain way. But when we're abiding in Him, when we're resting in Him, which is what a quiet time allows us to do, then we become fruitful, not because of what we're doing, but because He can now work through us. It's by no means all the reasons to do a quiet time. This is simply just 3 that I chose to share. And so the third one would be it allows us to refocus. So quiet time allows us to remember that life is about God, that life and every day is about glorifying God and honoring Him through what we do, through what we say, through what we think. And so it allows us to refocus back to Him and to enter our day knowing that it's about Him and not about us, because it's so tempting. It's a temptation every day to want to live for what we want to do. But a quiet time allows us to remember that life is about honoring God and to seeking Him. So this is by no means all the reasons to do a quiet time. This is simply just 3 that I chose to share. And so the third one would be it allows us to refocus. So quiet time allows us to remember that life is about God, that life and every day is about glorifying God and honoring Him through what we do, through what we say, through what we think, all of those things. And so it allows us to refocus back to Him and to enter our day knowing that it's about Him and not about us, because it's so tempting. It's a temptation every day to want to live for what we want to do. But a quiet time allows us to remember that life is about honoring God and to seeking Him. So I wanted to just talk about just a few tips, a few little bits of information that I wanted to share with you just as in this introduction video. And then later on, I'll kind of post a few more videos, kind of going more into depth of my personal quiet time, and hopefully that can encourage you in yours. So the first thing that I would say is to pick a specific time. So whether that's morning, whether that's during your lunch break, whether it's in the evening after work, or whether it's at your bedtime, but to pick a specific time. Now, for me personally, I would recommend doing it in the morning. I find that in the morning, like I said, all those 3 reasons, it allows us to remember that we are to abide in God, and it allows us to remember that our day is about God. And we also are filling ourselves with truth before all the lies. We're filling ourselves with peace, and before all the worries of the world kick in, before all the anxiety and all the pressure, all the busyness, all the temptations, we are filling ourselves with God's Word first and primarily. So I find that a morning is the best way to do it, the best way to start off my morning. But if you're new to this, then I would just say pick a time to start. So like I said, whether that's in the morning as first thing you get up with a cup of coffee, whether it's during your lunch break, just reading something from the Bible, or during the evening after you get home from work, just sitting down for a little bit and studying God's Word, or at bedtime before you go to bed, it's also a good time to be able to read. But first, just pick a specific time and stick to that. The next tip that I have is if you are new, then to start with a Bible plan. So there's a couple different ones that I would personally recommend about going into the Bible. The first would be a Bible in a year plan. That's a good way to kind of space out. It already comes broken down for you into what passages to read, so that might be a bit easier to be able to do. Or if you read the Bible in a year, maybe reading it chronologically. That's something I haven't done yet and I want to do in the future. So just picking a chronological plan online or on the Bible app. But those are also good tools to use to be able to kind of study the Bible through a chronological order. And the last thing that I would say is if you're new to the Bible, then I would say pick one of the Gospels. The Gospels are all about Jesus and his life and really digging into who he is. So I would say the Gospels are a great place to start for you if you are new to the Bible in general. My third tip would be to be consistent, be disciplined, and make it a priority. It's going to be hard some mornings to get up in the morning and to want to sit down and read God's word, or maybe you're battling with falling asleep. It's also going to be hard in the evenings, when you just got off of work, and to sit down when there's so many other things that you could do, maybe clean up or things like that. But I would say make it a priority. Put it on your calendar to do and just be disciplined about it. Maybe you don't feel like it, but just keep doing it. And even if you fall off track, I've done that before, just get back up. Every day is a new day. Every moment is a new moment. There is grace. So just get back up. If you didn't wake up today, that's fine. Do it later on in the day, or the next morning is a brand new morning to start all over again. The next thing I would say is to remember that the Bible all points to the gospel, which is the good news of Jesus, of his life, his death, and his burial. And so all of the Bible ties into that, into who Jesus is and that he's coming back. And even in the Old Testament, it was prophesying that he was coming and all of these things. So that's another thing to keep in mind, is to remember that the whole Bible points to the gospel. And that's a whole nother way also to look at the Bible and to be able to find just different connections of how things connect, or verses that foreshadow different things. Some of the things I'll be digging into the future videos will be what I do during my personal quiet time. So first thing is just prayer. Second thing is reading the Bible. Third is journaling. Fourth is highlighting. So I have a certain way that I highlight, and that helps me to be able to break down the Bible in a simpler way and allow me to focus on specific details. And then lastly is sharing. So again, I'll be posting those, Lord willing, in the future. So just be in tune for those. But for now, that is everything. Thank you guys for joining me for today, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.